Welcome back to the channel, everyone! Today's tale isn't so much a standard celebrity interview. This one blows up into something totally out of the blue. Clint Eastwood, Hollywood's greatest lone wolf, steps onto Jimmy Kimmel Live's set to plug his new movie. But what began as a peaceful promotional bit turns suddenly into an unforgettable confrontation, ending with Clint being escorted off the stage. What actually occurred that evening? Buckle up. This ride gets rough. Before we jump into the drama, don't forget to subscribe and let us know where you're viewing from by leaving a comment. Let's see how many are tuning in for this battle of wits between a Hollywood icon and late-night TV. The tension in the Jimmy Kimmel Live stage is electric. Spotlights sear down from the ceiling, and the audience is alive with energy. The very name, Clint Eastwood, is enough to bring the room to quiet. At more than 90 years young, he remains an imposing presence. He's here to discuss his latest endeavor. A tough drama about a rancher defying a corporate land grab. A tale that strikes close to heart. Not only for his character, but for the man himself. His trademark scowl. That gravel-voiced growl. It's all still intact. But Clint doesn't do small talk or showbiz fripperies. He didn't show up for jokes or gimmicks. He showed up to tell a story. And if anyone attempts to make him a joke, they're in for a rude surprise. Off stage, there's already trouble brewing. His loyal assistant, Maggie, a no-nonsense, sharp-witted presence, has already cautioned the show's producers. Don't try to meme him. They laugh and smile, but backstage, they are plotting. A meme moment with a legend? That's gold on the internet. All they have to do is push just the right buttons. But Maggie has known Clint longer than anyone. He's not here to mess around, and he never handles well when people try to put him in a box. In the green room, Clint nurses a cup of black coffee in silence, his gaze fixed on a monitor backstage. Jimmy Kimmel is already on the air, his monologue skewering the latest celebrity meltdowns. The crowd laps it up. Clint doesn't smile, he simply observes, composed, still calculating. His fingertips drum against the armrest. Maggie catches the look. It's a small thing, but unmistakable. Clint's sizing up the room like a gunslinger at dawn. Then the cue arrives. It's time. Clint rises, smooths his jacket, and strides toward the curtain. No entourage, no spectacle, just intent. On stage, Jimmy improvises on a pop star's meltdown. The audience laughs on cue. Then he changes tone. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, Clint Eastwood. The band launches into a gritty rock riff. The crowd goes wild in applause. And Clint emerges, slow and deliberate, like a man who owns the moment. A hard handshake, a nod. And then he sits down, tense, calm, his eyes scanning every inch of the set. The din subsides. All eyes are on them. Jimmy begins with softballs, inquiring about the film. Clint leans forward, his tone dry but unshakable, talking of loyalty, land, and battling to defend what's right. Every sentence punches home. The room is frozen. It's not a promo, it's a statement. But Jimmy can't stay in that seriousness for too long. He needs something light, something he can cut for the web. He makes a joke at Clint's expense, asking if he still rides. Clint answers curtly, "When it matters." The audience laughs, but Steele is behind the words. A threat? Jimmy misses it. He prods again, switching to an old Hollywood gossip rumor, a barroom brawl Clint supposedly got into while on set during the shooting of a Western. It's meant to be funny, retro. But Clint's jaw clenches. His eyes cloud. Didn't happen, he flatly asserts. The words cutting through the air. The studio falls silent. A few nervous laughs ripple out, but the atmosphere has changed. And we're just getting started. Jimmy flashes a tight grin, hoping to smooth things over. But he's already lost the room, And worse, he's misjudged the man sitting across from him. In a last-ditch attempt at levity, he grabs a cheesy cowboy hat from behind the desk, lifting it like it's part of a harmless joke. "Come on, Clint," says Jimmy, smiling through a strain of tension. "Just one little photo for the fans." The audience laughs and claps, urging the moment on, but Clint doesn't budge. He doesn't blink. His gaze fixes on Jimmy, cold and unyielding. "Put that thing away," Clint says, not loudly. But each word is like a hammer blow. The studio freezes, dead silent. Jimmy's smile hesitates. Maggie, back in the wings, shakes her head slowly. She knew this would happen. She cautioned them. Now it is too late. The silence is thick as the seconds before the thunder cracks open across the sky. Jimmy, still clutched in his hand, releases a high-pitched, nervous laugh. All right. No hats tonight," he mutters, dropping it to the floor. But the audience is no longer laughing. Their earlier enthusiasm has soured into a subtle unease. Clint remains stationary, still looking, still stone. Backstage, Maggie's jaws clenched. Her tone is icy as she growls to the stage manager. "Told you not to push him!" The stage manager, suddenly perspiring, waves to the control booth to break to commercial. But the director dithers. This isn't tension, this is television gold. The brass want to ride the wave. Jimmy squirms in his seat on stage, attempting to get back on solid ground. He forces a smile and leans in. "So, let's discuss more about the film," he says, attempting to deflect with a forced, bright voice. He queries what inspired Clint's character. The rancher standing up against a greedy land heist. Safe ground, right? Incorrect. Clint leans forward slowly, putting his hands on his knees. When he talks, his voice is low and measured. "It's about people who don't fold," he says. "Folks who stand up for what's theirs when the world comes at them." He pauses, staring Jimmy straight in the face. "It's not about wearing a costume and dancing around for a laugh." That cuts deep. There's a stir in the audience, some clapping, some anxious gasps. Jimmy struggles to keep the train on track. "So, tell us about the production. Where was it shot?" But Clint isn't done. He interrupts, his voice biting. "You know, I came here to discuss something real," he tells them, gesturing to the set, the lights flashing, the cameras. "Not to be a gimmick for your ratings." The audience turns again, this time more loudly. Some muttering, some cheering. Everyone's at the edge of their seats, not knowing if this is staged or a moment careening into chaos. Jimmy can be clearly flustered. His signature smirk has disappeared. He looks around anxiously to the side of the stage where a producer is wildly gesticulating to end the segment. But Clint's voice grows loud once more. Firm, unflinching. "I've been doing this longer than you've been alive," he says, staring straight through Jimmy. "I don't need this circus to sell a story." The audience erupts, some shouting support, others laughing awkwardly, unsure what to believe. It's raw, it's uncomfortable, but it's real. Jimmy, desperate to salvage the moment, leans forward with a grin that doesn't reach his eyes. "Hey, we're just having fun here, Clint. No need to get all fired up." But Clint only shakes his head. "Fun?" he says, the word laced with contempt. "You call this fun?" He waves his arm expansively at the blinding lights, the audience, the equipment, the machinery behind the spectacle. "You bring people out here, prod at their history, toss props at them, and refer to it as entertainment." The audience is now a live wire. The air is charged with tension. Backstage, the producers are in complete panic. The director is shouting into his headset, calling for a commercial break. But news from above comes through. The ratings are sky high. Let it ride. Maggie, pacing just off stage, curses under her breath. Told them. Told every single one of them. Maggie glances at the monitor, her heart pounding. She looks at Clint's face, stone cold, unyielding, and she knows. He's not going back down. Not tonight. Jimmy is disintegrating out on stage. His charm is fraying at the edges. Each joke falls flat. Each try at wisecracking falling to the floor. Fumbling, he grabs for nostalgia. Clint, he asks, your all-time favorite from way back when? But Clint interrupts, voice rising just high enough to fill the room. You don't get it, he states squarely. This isn't about me. It's about respect. For the work. For the people watching. That line sets the crowd ablaze. Cheers begin. Some of them get to their feet, applauding. Others boo. The whole studio is a powder keg. Jimmy's patience snaps. The friendly mask slips. He leans forward, his tone sharp. Look, Clint. We're just trying to give the fans what they want, he says, gesturing toward the crowd. They love you. They want to see the legend. It's a mistake. A big one. Clint's eyes flash. He leans forward slightly, and his voice slices through the noise. They don't want a clown, he says. They want the truth. A hush falls. Then, snap. A heckler yells something from the back. It's too jumbled to hear, but it's enough to break the silence. Jimmy leaps at the chance to take back control. All right, we'll take a quick break, folks, he says, trying to laugh it off. He claps his hands, signaling the band. Music blares. Lights flash. But Clint doesn't move. He remains in his chair, quiet, glaring. His presence over the brass section, attempting to bury him. The audience is divided. Half chanting Clint's name, half screaming for Jimmy to fight back. Cameras are held aloft everywhere, recording every moment. This is no longer a segment. It's a moment. And it's going viral before it's finished. Backstage, the producers are sweating bullets. Maggie is pacing, muttering under her breath. She's seen this coming since the first cue card. Now it's out of control. The band winds down, but the storm hasn't passed. Jimmy sits back down and leans toward Clint. His mic is low, but the front rows can hear him whisper, "Let's just cool it. We'll talk about the movie." Clint's reply is ice. "You had your shot," he growls. The tone is low, but cutting like a razor. The crowd is transfixed. Phones remain aloft. Clips already flood social media. Comments keep coming. Clint schooling late-night television. Kimmel just got Clint slammed. Jimmy's face tightens. He's not accustomed to being out of control, particularly not in this way. He attempts to bring the crowd back on board, raising his arms. "Folks, we love Clint, right?" he shouts, attempting to get the crowd to applaud. A clap or two rings out, but it's spotty. The crowd is not with him, not completely, no longer. Clint settles back, arms folded, eyes inscrutable. He's not here to please the crowd. He's not here to be nice. He's here to make a point. At the wings, the stage manager gestures wildly. Wrap it. Cut off the segment. But Jimmy's ego refuses to relinquish. He gives it one more attempt, grabbing a cue card. So, the cast. Some real talent there this time, you directed. But Clint interrupts him. "You're not listening," he says. Quiet, calm, but intense. The murmurs from the crowd recede. "This isn't about the movie anymore," Clint goes on. "It's about you assuming you can trot me out here like some piece of furniture in your play." The crowd gasps. A few yell out, "Tell him, Clint!" Others boo, the tension dividing the room straight down the middle. And suddenly, late-night TV wasn't entertainment anymore. It was war. Jimmy's smile is erased now. His face is red, hands tight on the desk. He's been in trouble before, but this is different. This is Clint Eastwood calling him on it. Not behind closed doors, not in the wings, but live, on television, in front of millions. Jimmy tries to laugh, but it doesn't sound sincere. "Come on, man," he says, opening his hands toward the crowd. "It's just TV. We're all here to have a good time." Clint shakes his head slowly, like a man in disappointment rather than anger. "Not me," he says. "I came here to discuss something that counts. You made it into a circus." That line hits like a body blow. The audience erupts. Half applause, half jeering. The studio is a war zone of sound. Maggie stands in the wings, a small, curt nod of grim approval on her face. She's watched Clint match wits with egos twice as big as Jimmy's, and win every time. At last, the director cuts to commercial. The screen blinks with advertisements, the band falls silent, and the house lights go down. But Clint doesn't budge. He remains seated, unmoving, as if he's hewn from granite, an icon who won't play by the script. Jimmy babbles, furious, to a floor producer, waving his arms wildly. The tension is unbearable. The audience is agitated, some chanting Clint's name, others arguing in the seats. It's no longer a telecast. It's a standoff. Security starts to move in off the stage. 2 beefy men in black with earpieces. But they hold back. This isn't just some guy. This is Clint Eastwood. Maggie steps forward, intercepting the stage manager. "Don't even think about touching him," she says, her voice low but sharp as steel. The stage manager freezes. He backs off. The moment passes, but the air stays thick with unease. Backstage, the producers panic, shouting, agitated pacing. Jimmy stands by his desk, running a hand through hair, mumbling to himself. He knows he's losing this, and he doesn't know how to win it. Clint, meanwhile, sits calmly. Someone's brought him a glass of water. He sips it without a word, his eyes scanning the room like a general reading the battlefield. A few fans in the front row lean forward, one calling out, "You're the man, Clint!" He gives a small nod. That's it. He's not performing for them. He never was. The commercial break is over. The director calls out. Clint remains. Jimmy must take back control. The lights up. The band plays a brief outro. The cameras roll again. Jimmy glides into his seat. Smile strained but real. He's getting back in the ring. And he knows it. "We're back with the one and only Clint Eastwood," he says, trying to reset the tone, his voice brighter, almost too bright. He quickly pivots to a safer question, asking about the film's cinematography. Something technical, neutral, grounded. Clint answers. His voice is steady. He talks about the stark visuals, the way the land is treated as a character. It's thoughtful, focused, but then, without being asked, he shifts gears. "Don't you know what's wrong with shows like this?" he says, waving a hand, lazily at the set. "You think it's all flash, noise, doing stunts to make people laugh. You lost sight of what storytelling is really all about." The audience stiffens again. The producers white-knuckle their headsets. The director curses aloud. Clint doesn't blink, doesn't flinch. He came to speak some truth, and he isn't going anywhere until it's been spoken. "You cause all this commotion," Clint warns, his voice slicing through the air. "And you ignore what's true." The audience stirs. Some clapping along, others shifting restlessly in their seats. Jimmy's grin tightens. His eyes flash with something like annoyance, but he nods firmly, attempting to keep his cool. "Fair enough," Jimmy replies, reclining as if he's still the boss. "But hey, this is entertainment, right? People want a show." He spreads his arms, looking for support. A handful of cheers, a handful of boos. The room is divided. Clint doesn't even flinch. "They want honesty," he says, his voice slicing through the din like a knife. "Not some buffed-up lie you spin them to keep them clapping." The audience gasps. Some stand up, shouting approval. Others jeer even more loudly. The air is charged, explosive. The din overwhelms the studio band. The control room descends into anarchy. Jimmy's grin falters once more. His hands are clasping the edge of the desk now. Knuckles white as bone. He's losing the room, and he knows it. The floor producer waves frantically, signaling to move on. But Jimmy's pride has joined the conversation, and it won't let him back down. He leans in, his tone colder now. Look, Clint, you're a legend. Nobody's arguing that, but you're on my stage, and we've got a show to do. The challenge lands hard. The crowd feels it. A spike of sound surges through the room like a lightning bolt. Clint's eyes get narrower, just a little. But that's all it takes. The tension is thicker. Your stage, Clint says again, his voice low and intentional. I'm here because I wanted to be. Not to dance for you! The crowd goes mad. Some of the fans are standing, screaming Clint's name. Other fans are screaming back, urging Jimmy to stand firm. The energy is crazy, like the whole set is humming. Maggie observes from the wings, arms crossed, shaking her head. Here we go, she says. Security advances closer now, hands fidgeting near their belts, unsure what to do. They've been instructed not to stir things up. This is Clint Eastwood, for crying out loud, not a fighter, a legend. Jimmy's had enough. He disregards every implicit rule about hosting late nights. He stands. You think to discuss respect? He yells, his finger jabbing directly at Clint. Respect the folk who brought you here! His voice bellows out across the studio. The nice guy facade is stripped away. The gloves are off now. The studio descends into a cacophony of noise. Cheers, boos, screams. Cameras are out, recording. Comment feeds online are already going ballistic. And then Clint rises, slowly, deliberately. He looms over the stage like a monument, not shouting, not grandstanding, but his voice carries, every syllable like a drumbeat in the silence between roars. Respect's earned, he says, moving in closer. Not bought with lights and applause. The crowd goes wild. People are standing on chairs calling out his name, others yelling Jimmy's. The studio is shaking with energy. Viewers at home are fixed to their screens. Backstage, the director is screaming to cut to commercial! Get out! Get out! But cameras keep rolling. All bets are being made live by second. Maggie's staring at Clint. Her face is intense, guarded. She's poised to pounce if things lean even a single inch more. The two security guards currently standing at the lip of the stage share nervous glances. Nobody wants to be the one who attempts to pull Clint Eastwood off stage. Then Jimmy finally diffuses the standoff. He takes a step back, guffaws forcibly with a nervous smile that barely covers. All right, Clint, you've made your point, he says, trying to laugh it off. His voice is tight, his face still flushed. Let's give it up for Clint Eastwood, folks. A few people clap, but most don't. The room is too divided, too charged. The tension hasn't lifted. Clint doesn't acknowledge the applause. He doesn't nod, doesn't smile. He just keeps staring at Jimmy, unmoving, unforgiving, as if he's choosing whether to land a final punch or simply leave. In the back, the floor producer stoops to security and mouths the announcement nobody wanted to give. Get him off now! Security guards are frozen, unsure. One eventually moves toward Clint, raising a hand hesitantly to his shoulder. Sir, let's go for a walk, he says kindly, words respectful but authoritative. Clint slowly moves to confront him, eyes fixing on the guards. And in an instant, the whole studio stops. The crowd holds its breath, its collective silence a living thing. Don't, Clint utters low and even. Not a threat, a command. The guard freezes, palms raised in surrender, backing away wordlessly. From the wings, Maggie hurries forward. Her voice cuts through the buzz of tension. He's going when he's ready, she spits, staring at the producer, challenging him to try and stop her. But Clint holds up a hand, silently halting her. And then he turns, to Jimmy first, then to the audience. His expression is neutral. His tone, when he speaks, is flat but absolute. I said what I came to say, Clint addresses the room. That's it. And that's when he turns his back to the lights, the cameras, the commotion, and exits the stage. Slow, steady, intentional. The audience goes wild. A shock wave of cheers, interspersed with amazed gasps, sweeps across the studio. Jimmy stands all alone. The band struggles with a tune, anything to cover the abrupt silence. Jimmy try-hard smiles, waving at the crowd like it never occurred. Yeah, well, that was something, wasn't it? He cracks, struggling with forced laughter. A handful of people laugh, but the vibe's broken. The magic's gone. It's utter pandemonium backstage. Producers are yelling, trying to manage damage control. The director is barking orders regarding PR spin and headlines. Maggie catches up with Clint in the green room. He's already reaching for his coat. His cool demeanor unfazed. Told him not to push you, she grumbles, half smiling, half frustrated. Clint nods once. His eyes are far away. He's already gone past it. The internet is ablaze outside. Cuts from the moment are going viral. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, everyone's weighing in. Fans are polarizing. Commentators are analyzing every utterance. Was it real? Was it staged? Did Clint have a point? The rest of Jimmy's show stumbles to the end. The next section plays, but who cares? Clint's departure has stolen the show. That moment becomes the headline. A line in the sand that no one anticipated. The evening, a legend appeared on a talk show and declined to play ball. As Clint emerges into the dimly lit parking lot outside the studio, the hum still abuzz behind him, one thing is certain. He didn't vacate a stage. He established a boundary, one Hollywood won't soon forget. That's the tale, folks. What a wild ride. If you like this in-depth analysis, hit that subscribe button and become part of our community of individuals who believe in what's real, not just what's popular. Leave a comment below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Los Angeles, Tokyo, or perhaps somewhere way off the grid. Did Clint do the right thing and stand his ground? Or did he overstep? Let me know what you think. Like the video. Share it with a friend. And until next time,